Hi guys, I'm Nadia from Imali Crafts, and today I want to show you how to make these stud earrings with the diamond cut gemstones. If you like my tutorials, consider subscribing because I upload new stuff every week. Right, so let's get started. So for these earrings, we are going to be needing some square wire. You can use round, but square generally is better. As I say so often, it just keeps your shape so much better. I am demonstrating here with some round 0.6 wire, just so that you can see that it does work with your round as well. So I'm not just saying that it really does work, it just doesn't stay put as well as it should. So what we're doing here is we create a basket first to sit the stone in, so pretty much similar to the lollipop setting that you can also find on my channel. And what we're doing next is wrap the wire as tightly as we can, but gently, around the shape of the gemstone, so basically around the cone of the stone. So you can see I'm fighting a little bit with the round wire because it doesn't want to do what I want it to do. So that will happen. It's a fiddly sort of business to create these kind of settings. They take a little bit of practice, but once you get going with them, they're really cool. I quite like using them for many different applications. So now, because these are earrings, we need to create a little loop at the bottom. So what I do here is I'm taking my round nose pliers and I'm using the very tip of the pliers to create a little loop as close to the stone as possible, but leaving a little bit of a length, enough to be able to wrap around that loop once, because we're going to do that in a minute. So once you've created a loop, we are going to continue to travel around the stone. So I find it's a lot easier when I press my fingers over the stone and I kind of blindly pull the wire along the stone. So everybody has different techniques. You need to find what works for you. And obviously just practice, and you'll see that eventually it will get so much easier to do this setting. So here I am just adjusting the actual setting itself. I can't really see because the camera is kind of in the way while I'm filming, so it's a little bit skew. So I'm adjusting as I twist, and when I get near the end, I kind of put my finger over and allow myself to see a little bit what I'm doing, just so I can follow where the wire goes, because obviously there's no stone anymore to kind of guide it into place, so you need to see what you're doing. So next I'm going to straighten out the wire at the back, because this is obviously going to be the stud. Now bear in mind that obviously people are allergic, so it would be best to use sterling silver or silver if you can. So just press, and then what we're going to do, once we've twisted the wire around from the loop, we're going to trim off that wire, and this would be the first section completed. So you're going to compress this a little bit more. Now again, as I keep saying, square wire will hold its shape much better because it's got more structural integrity, but as I said, round works as well. So all we need to do next is just straighten out the little pin at the back and then trim it off to length. So you don't really need much, maybe 1.5 centimeters, which I've got no idea what that is in inches, sorry. And that is what the earring looks like. So there's 2 of them, and the last step, which is quite an easy little thing to do, is a very simple rosary link through a drop or whatever else you have available. This is a top drilled topaz, and what I'm doing here is using a bit of 0.4 26 gauge, and I am folding the wire. I'm crossing them at the tip of the stone, and I'm going to bring in my round nose pliers. Again, I'm using the very tip of the pliers because I obviously want the loop to be as small as possible. So I'm folding one in a anti-clockwise direction, one wire, then I'm switching my hands with the pair of pliers so that I can then wrap the other side. And this one I'm going clockwise so that they cross again. And the reason I'm doing this is so that there's extra strength. There will be 2 loops instead of just 1. So once I've done the 2 loops, I'm wrapping 1 wire around everything in a clockwise direction. And just make sure that you create everything as neat as possible. So then I'm going to take the other wire and I'm going in the other direction. So this is anti-clockwise. And what this does is it basically locks all of the wires in place and gives it a lot more strength. And then trim off the wires. And what I'm going to do next, with some of the leftover 0.6 wire that I have used, I'm going to create my own jump rings. So for that, you will need to use your bell making pliers, or your round nose pliers will work, but bear in mind that obviously the cone will not make them very straight. So these kind of pliers, your bell making pliers, are much better for that. So I'm using the smallest possible loop, and I am rotating the wire as I go along. You only need like a small bit of wire to create about 4 or 5 jump rings. And then I'm going to bring in my flush cutters, which are fantastic for the sort of application, my Tronics ones, because they give you a super sheer cut, which means that there's no lip when you're trimming them off. So I recommend these quite highly. They're a little bit more pricey than your normal flash cutters, but the Tronics tools are very, very good. So what I'm doing here is trimming off the jump rings, and every time I cut a jump ring, I make sure that I trim off the edge that has got a little bit of a bevel. So I'm trying to zoom in here so that you can see. Tiny little jump ring, and all that's left to do is assemble the components. So I'm going to take my jump ring and I'm going to grab my components. You get a little ring that you can wear, and these are specifically made for jump ring opening. I actually do need to get one because I think they're quite handy to have. So once you've done that, just add your your components, and close the jump ring. Just make sure they're shut properly so things don't fall off. And then what you can do is get some little backings, earring backings, and they will fit on that perfectly. And that's that. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe, because as I said, I upload new material every week. And why not join our fun little Facebook group, which is called Wire Wrap and Jewelry Artists Worldwide. We always have some fun challenges going, and we in general a fun bunch, so come and join us. On my website as well, I just want to mention I have several other tutorials for sale. I run workshops, or I have square and half round wire. So for anything of those things, just pop by on imbalicrafts.com or on my Etsy site, or else just visit me on my Instagram, TikTok or Facebook. It would be lovely to see you there. Thank you.